because it is said that most postmoderns would love, to dance, so they don't care about the best. If we could take this success and purpose, what are
for the talents, maybe, yeah, that's a good question. Definitely. So maybe it's a question that most of the teams usually have.
most impressed?
Welcome to Energ-Aid. I am your host, Adela and Kalako. Today, I have a very important topic, so don't go anywhere. We will be talking about careers. In studio today, to help me, is Kalako Mondiwa, and he will help us understand what careers are all about. Welcome, Kalako.
Thank you, Adela.
In your own words, how would you define a career?
I would define a career as one's journey through life, and that encompasses education, family life, and work, which others would call employment, if you're the one being employed. Yeah.
And is it the same as an occupation, or is there a difference?
I think they're synonymous. We understand occupation as work, but I mean, if you look at the broad definition of occupation, it means what occupies your time, pretty much. So I would think they're more or less the same, but I think a career, I would want it to be more of, understand the concept as a bit more holistic, because if you look at your career only as work, I mean, I think you're looking at it from another perspective, but the career should be about your life in general, your family life, your lifelong learning, your education. Yeah.
And there's, okay, because now that you've said that, right, let's look at the job part. There's so many careers in the world, you know. People have such a wide choice.
Yeah.
How can we choose the right careers as teens?
Okay. I think most importantly, I would not want to remove a job from the other things I've talked about, because that's education and your life. I mean, how you look at these three altogether will determine how or which career you want to choose. And actually, even before we go there, I think the most important thing for anyone before you go to choosing a career is to determine your purpose in life. So what do you want to do in life in general? Okay, then you can think of what career you want to pursue, whether you want to do a professional job like a doctor, for example, lawyer, police person, whatever you want to do. I mean, that depends on your outlook on life, your worldview. What do you want to do? What is your purpose as a person in life? So once you determine that, then you're able to see, okay, for example, in my life, I want to have a very good life with my family.
Yeah.
Okay, then your career comes in to support that goal. Well, for others is, I want to have this career, you know, I want to be the head of this company, I want to do this. Then it also affects your other life, okay? And when you arrive at that decision, that then will influence your education, what you want to pursue, you know, as academic qualifications in life in general. So for me, I think most importantly is one needs to know their purpose in life, rather define, not know, define what you want in life. Someone said, if you're very clear with what you want, the world will respond with clarity. And I say God will respond with specificity. So yeah, I think for me that's about it. It's about knowing what you want, and then from that, at that point in time, then you determine what you want. Because well, that's the first part. And then the reason is, if you're talking about a job, why do you want to pursue that job? So there are reasons, like obvious reasons, that I want to get money. You know, everyone wants money. Let's be honest. So I want money. So if you want money, just money, then it's very easy. You do a market assessment. I mean, you can look up to people that you admire in life. I mean, in your social sphere, the people you know are like, okay, so what do you do? How much money? Well, I won't tell you how much money you get, but you'll probably know that this man guys get good money. And from there, you can ask them what they did, and then you can follow their life course. But I mean, that should not restrict one from pursuing something that's out of the norm, as it were. You know, there are other things that people could do without looking at other people as well. And then the other angle is you can look at your career as a service, for example. Apart from I just want money, you can say, oh, look, I want to serve the community. So I want to be a nurse, for example. I want to be a teacher, I want to be a police person. And the various roles that people could do. I want to be a social worker, I want to be a psychologist or a psychiatrist, whatever you want to do. So I mean, that for me really depends, again, back on the purpose. Like, I want to do social service in life. Or not really selfish, but you know, I want good money, I want to have life and everything else. So I think those two really will determine what you want to do as a career. Yeah.
And you mentioned something about not restricting yourself and not just doing the things that are part of the norm. how would you, or what would you say to a person who maybe is defining what they want to do, maybe because of the grades they're getting, but clearly it's not what they actually want to do. Or maybe because of our economy right now in Malawi, they feel I can't pursue a certain career, something that's not so common, because in Malawi, almost everyone's a lawyer, almost everyone's a business person, almost everyone's an accountant. But then you've got teens now, I've heard, they want to do different things, biochemistry, they want to do psychology. They want to do all these different kinds of careers, but with our economy in Malawi, they are kind of let down. What would you say to them? Would you advise them to continue with what they want to do, or what would you say?
Okay. No, so what I really say is, there are two things that you've said. You've talked about Malawi's economy, and then you've talked about the job market being flooded with specific certain careers. Two things. One, I think as we grow up, we need to understand that the world is getting smaller. So don't be restricted by the careers that we see in Malawi only. There are a lot of other fields, data science, IT-related stuff, that you can get a job elsewhere, not just Malawi. So if you think outside Malawi, I think you can train for anything that you want to do. So don't be restricted. I just want to be a lawyer, I want to be an accountant. That's okay. And at the same time, I want to say, even though, you talk about the jobs are flooded and so on and so forth, but if you're still determined to be an accountant, for example, you can still go out there and be an accountant and achieve what you want to do, even within the flooded market, so long as you're determined. Yeah.
And what steps does one need to take to become successful, or maybe to achieve what they want in life?
Okay. So I'll go back again to the basics. I think the first one really is, at this age, one, like I said, you need to define, know, and invest in knowing what you want to do. Unfortunately, as we grow up, we just think that things happen with time. But unnecessarily, that doesn't actually really work. You need to invest time. Invest time to ask people what sort of careers are out there. What are the advantages and disadvantages. And then as you grow up, get to know yourself. What kind of person am I? What would I want to do? Once you've arrived at that decision, and that decision doesn't have to be permanent. You can make that decision after 10, 15 years down the road. You can say, look, this is not what I want to do. I think I've discovered something else. that's in career management, you can always do that. You can come to a certain point, you look at the market again, you look at yourself, look at what's available, you can go back to school, take a different course, get a different job, depending on what's happening. But at that point, you need to have a purpose, you need to know what you want to do. For example, let's just say, for argument's sake, you want to be a pilot, for example, or an accountant. At that point, you need to, for example, I want to be an accountant and work for example. You need to have ambitions in life. So you just can't work for anyone. For example, say I want to be, for example, an auditor, for argument's sake, one of the big companies, for example, let's say KPMG. So you need to know, for me to work for KPMG, what do you need to do? I need to be an accountant, I need to have done my SCCAs, I need to have done my PIC, and so on and so forth. And the prerequisite of that, obviously, is pretty much people say it's math, but also I think it also goes with the type of person that you are. You need to have a lot of integrity and stuff like that. So you need to work at, for example, one, building your own integrity at this stage. At the same time, you need to work on your education, focus on math and the sciences, so that your brain is also more biased now towards numbers and memorizing and being critical in thinking and stuff like that. So you need to have a career plan. You need to have a plan that tells you today what you need to do now in school, what you need to focus on. Then at that point, you need to focus on what specific college you want to go to, whether it's in Malawi or it's outside Malawi. For example, you want to go to Polytechnic, and for me to go to Polytechnic, for example, I need to get 12 points. So that's your immediate goal at this point with specific subjects. When you get to college, you also know you need to get specific grades for you, to go into a specific field. So you also focus on that. And I think after that, the same thing, you go for a job, you hunt for a job with a specific company that you're looking for. Of course, things don't always work that way, but as Christians, we always have faith and we always need to pray that God should also help us as we go along that process. Another important thing for me is, the level of determination that you put in these steps will determine your success. Yeah. So one of the things I've seen is, as we grow up, we want to have things now, but we need to have the ability to delay gratification. To say, okay, for now, I'm going to focus on this. Because 15, 10 years down the line, you have what you want, and then you can live as you want to do.
Is there a connection between someone's personality and their career choice?
Yes, pretty much. I know, for example, for specific jobs, for example, project management. we're only saying project management, about only 20% of the population can do proper project management, because it requires a specific character of a person. Someone who's dedicated, hardworking, able to solve problems, a critical thinker, and you put all those things. Sometimes not everyone is like that. So people are different. Some people want to be led, some want to just be there, some want to lead. You can just clearly say that in every group that you can go into. And again with that, there's this whole notion of, no, this is the way I am, this is the way I was born, me, I'm a shy person, you know, to an extent it's true, but again, this whole concept of personal development. So you look at yourself and say, okay, I'm a shy person, so what can I do? You can work at that and improve yourself. There's so many personal development courses you can do. This is everyone has got a phone, you can go on Google, you can go small course on YouTube, whatever. Public speaking, for example, is something that you could learn. I mean, I was the worst public speaker, you know, 10 years ago I was the worst public speaker you've ever met. So, I mean, it's just with time you can develop yourself to, okay, I want to develop myself in this aspect, and then you can develop yourself. But of course, let's also accept that there's specific limitations within characters, you know, temperaments as well. That will determine what sort of job you'd want to get. And as you do your career search, you know, they'll tell you that, for example, for this specific career, you need to be, at least we need people like this, they excel better, you know, in this sort of career. So I think it's also important to invest time to know that. But at the same time, there's also the whole concept of personal development, which I think in Malawi I've not really seen, but we need to invest in that. Yeah.
You talked about, you mentioned career plan. What's that all about?
So career planning is, at this level, maybe it might not have that sort of, but I think you still could do that. It's a plan pretty much that tells you, you put your goal at the end, what you want. So remember what I said at the beginning. A career being about your family life, about your education, and about your job, as it were. You know? So it's about developing that plan. Because you see, what I was trying to say also, I'll just digress a bit. If you look at the careers that I was talking about, and I was planning on giving you this specific example. One of the other nights, I went to one of the private companies in town, I won't say which one, you know, at around 10 p.m. Okay? And all the apparently seemingly rich guys with nice flashy cars, at 10 p.m., were in the office working. Because at 10 p.m. So I was asking myself, what is the point of having all these nice things and then you get to work every day at 10 and then you go home and sleep and then wake up at 6 a.m. again and get just in the office? Okay. So I think one needs to define what they want to do really, because there's some jobs that will take away from you your family lifetime, because you work from 6 to 10 p.m. There's some jobs you work from 6 to 5, you know, so you just need to define what you want at the start. So anyway, let me go back. The plan. I mean, once you have that understanding and you know what you want to do, you can say, okay, what I want to do, for example, in my life is I want to achieve this, I want to be this sort of person, or I want to serve the community, okay? Then you put that as a goal. Then you say, okay, for me to get to this place, how do I get there? So you put all the steps I talked about earlier on in that sequential order, going back to where you are today. So it defines for you what you need to do today and then as you go along. It also be important to put that with times. For example, by this time I already have done my O-levels, A-levels. I would have been in college. Hopefully by this time I would have gotten a job. And even when I get a job, you say, okay, I'm going to be an intern, for example, for 2 years. And after that, I'm going to work so hard. By the end of 2 years, I need to be promoted to this level. After 2 years, I need to work at getting a promotion always. Because you can't be, my previous boss used to say, you can't be in the same position for 3 years. I mean, there's something slightly wrong. You know? You need to grow always. I mean, life is about growth through and through. So pretty much that's for me what I pretty much summarize. We program the career prime like that.
Okay. You said you had some questions for me.
Well, yeah, I mean, I wanted to know, I mean, based on your age, do you have, I mean, we probably already talked about it, but do you have already your career goals?
Yes, I do.
I mean, do you know how to get there?
Well, we're getting there.
You're getting there.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, so I was telling you about, I have, she's going to kill me. I have a little cousin. And, I mean, she had a plan as well, you know. She wanted to do something, it didn't work out. So, for example, this person went from economics to social work, you know. That tells you that the person that pretty much decided what they want to do. Because you can't go from economics to doing social service.
Yeah.
You know, it means you're not pretty sure what you want to do. And life is just happening to you as you go along. But there's a phrase that someone said. It says, life is in session, life is now. Life is not later.
Yeah, it's now.
There's no time for rehearsals. And most times the students would like to think, oh, well, there's a lot of time ahead of me. Actually, there isn't a lot of of time. Before you know it, you're 25, you're 30, you're 35. Oh, right. So what have I done really? Nothing. So if you look at it from that perspective, that I mean, the next 15 years, you'll be over 30.
Yeah.
Yeah. So ask yourself, what am I going to do in the next 15 years? So yeah, I think and now we need to, as teens, we need to realize that we're so young, but there's a lot that we can do between now and the time, for example, 25 or 20.
And I got this question from a certain friend. Are there any specific careers that as Christians, we shouldn't get involved in, or maybe that we can only pursue as Christians?
Well, I think some of them are controversial, but I don't know if one would consider politics a career. For me, that I already say that's a no-go zone. I don't think it's a career. But, well, in my definition, it's a career. So I don't think that's a no. I think for me, for a Christian proper, that's a no-go zone. Because politics, I mean, let's first say it's about... I've not seen a Christian going to politics and remain a Christian. I've seen Christians go into politics, but I've not seen them stay Christian in politics. So, I mean, that's my observation. But pretty much, I think that's what I would say one shouldn't venture into. I mean, there's a lot of careers that one could do. I mean, the mainstream careers, everyone can do. There are other things that probably they border on sensitivity and difference in terms of cultures. I wouldn't really mention them, but I think pretty much, you can do pretty much what you want to pursue in life.
All right. Thank you very much, Kalako, for joining me today.
Pleasure.
Before we move on to our inspirational quote segment, let's listen to a song done by Chifuniro and Longiso entitled Be Thou My Vision. That was Chifuniro and Longiso on the flute playing Be Thou My Vision. Now, it's time for our inspirational quotes. Today I have one simple verse that you can all write down or maybe memorize. It comes from Proverbs 3 verse 5 and 6, and it says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him and he will direct your paths." Just like Kalako said, if we let God pilot our ship, then he will lead us into the right direction. So all we need to do is trust in the Lord and trust that he will help us achieve what we want to do in life. And then I have one reflection that you can just think about, and it says, choosing a career can be difficult. Obviously, it is a matter for prayer. You should seek God's direction for His will for your life. It can also be helpful to examine the specific gifts God has given you. He makes us each different. You can read 1 Corinthians chapter 12 or Romans 12, verse 4 to 8, with unique desires, talents, and interests, and for unique purposes. It is also helpful to talk with those who know you well. Such people can serve as wise counselors. That's you can read Proverbs 15, verse 22. And often providing helpful insight. It may also be beneficial to shadow or interview someone in your potential career field or to volunteer in the field which you feel drawn to. So I hope that this program has blessed you, and I hope that you will find a career suitable for you, and that you will also make a plan that you can achieve. And remember what we talked about last time. We talked about being smart, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. So I'm here to tell you, and Kalako is also said, that you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you.